Alright guys, Austen Thomson here. How do you fancy seeing how I would go about cutting a cheeky 60s inspired wee crop? Alright, so what we're going to do first is scan the hair using the new digital scanner by Schwarzkopf Professional, and then we are going to measure it, and then we're going to use the Fibre Clinique's treatment, which is one of the best products I think I've used. It is really good for making the hair feel like total virgin like quality, fully customizable, so you can fix all of the hairdressing problems that you might have with a treatment with spanking new hair. Wow, that's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, let's get into this haircut. So we've sectioned out the top section, and then we are working on a diagonal section from in behind the ear to the back of the head at the middle. Each section we are lifting and elevating, so we're cutting on base from the previous section. The idea through the back is that we are building up a rounded curved shape that hugs neatly into the shape of the head. The key point here is to make sure that almost every section ends up with the hair being the same length. So the way you will do that is follow the head shape, work your diagonal sections, face the section that you're working on, and work so that your body is moving round the head as you're cutting. Also, what you want to be doing is elevating each section so that each time you're lifting a section it is becoming higher and higher. You don't want to elevate too high or the hair will flick out, and if you don't elevate high enough the hair will start to build up weight, which is fine for some haircuts, but for this haircut I want that rounded curvature on the back of the head, as you'll start to see when we're working further around the head. So I hope you guys are doing alright. It's been a while since I've shot a wee video. I shot this a long time ago, but it's taken me a wee while to get off my Scottish ass and do the editing. So here is the shape building up. So just keep in mind your tension, don't really cut below the knuckle, so only cut as far as the knuckle. That will stop you building up weight in the centre of the head. Key point here as well, when we're working on this side, the scissors are pointing, the points are pointing closer towards the ground, so your cutting elbow is higher. And this is me trying to show you the type of curvature that I mean using my daft wee comb. So that's how you'd elevate your sections. So your first section would be lower and your final section would be quite high. Okay, and then when we come to the other side, I guess I don't need to tell you this, but you're going to do the same thing. Key point that you would notice here of difference is that your scissors will be pointing up the way, so it's important that your body posture you take into account when you're working a haircut. You always should be standing. If you want to over direct one way, then you want to be standing, and I think I'll try and explain that in some future videos or probably some past videos. But because we want the hair here all to be more or less the same length, it's important that we stand square onto the section we're cutting, so that we can create that even distribution of weight, and so that all the layers are more or less, well, exactly the same length actually. So build up that shape, working round, and what you'll find is you have a reference point from the other side that you've cut. So when you become lower down, you'll see that possibly in the next section. If that's what I did when I filmed it, you should find a reference. So there it is from your other side, there's your reference point. So when you know that, when you find that, you know that you can check the haircut and that your balance is going quite well. If you feel like there's quite a big difference between that, then obviously you are probably going to have one side that is a little bit longer, and you might want to go back in and fix that before you go any further. Alright, so we continue that shape, just keep lifting. Remember the elevation, super important, straight out from the head, cutting every section on base, building up that real kind of 60s head hugging curve. It takes a little bit of discipline to do this haircut, and you can see, there we go, a nice kind of rounded shape. Notice also that I haven't really worked on the hairline yet, because I always feel the structure is really important when it's wet, and then once the hair is dry, that's when we would go in and start to like refine the hair and do our detail work. So always do that dry. As we are working around the side of the head, we are keeping our sections vertical but on a slight diagonal. We also are building up a little bit of graduation here, so slightly shorter above the ear, building up to a little bit of weight higher up to establish a slightly more graduated, almost square shape on the sides, so that it doesn't look too round on the side, because then when that grows out it can start to look a wee bit puffy, and you're no wanting puffy round hair at the sides. Then as we pivot round towards the front, we leave a little bit of length at the front, but that is just to add softness. Normally if I'm working on short hair, I knock out that front hairline and open out the cheekbones, because that's a beautiful part of a woman and it wants to be shown off, I reckon. Alright, so same on the other side. Had a little bit of problem with my storage when I was filming it, so I didn't film the full side, but you get the idea. Do the same as you did the first time. Alright, here's a little bit of point cutting on the hairline. I sometimes lift the hair up, do a little bit of slight undercut detail just to take away any little awkward jumps in hairlines. Then we are lifting the hair up, elevating it and point cutting to soften it, but really not going in on with the scissors on too much of an angle, because we want to point cut straight in to reduce a little bit of the heaviness on it, but not to like take too much of that structure away. Here's a wee tip as well. When you get to the ear and you've got a wee bit of hair that kicks out a little bit, just whack it off. And here is the hairline detail where we take that in a little bit shorter, widen the cheekbone area, and that's a really beautiful part on the woman. Alright, here is for what I would possibly call hair porn, when we are doing this little technique using a guideline reference from the crown, lifting the section vertical and doing a saw cutting technique. Look at that. That is like cinematic hair porn. Alright guys, so that is a little technique that I think is pretty cool, looks great. We're going from the shortest point, connecting the crown, to really leaving it quite long through the front. So elevate the section, find your guide, and once you've done one section you should be able to pick it out and see through it. And this is, well, your structure is disciplined around the sides, but when we get to the top I want this to be really fluid. I want it to be able to be looking quite soft but have a kind of fluid movement. Doesn't matter where you wear it, chuck it around a bit. Adds that kind of nice disconnection feel. So connected at the crown and disconnected towards the front. So build up that shape, short going into long, little saw cutting technique. Make sure on that, by the way, that you are not like dragging your blades through the hair without moving them. So your scissors should always be opening and closing a little bit to give that, so that it's not, doesn't feel ugly or feel like you're tearing the hair out. A little bit of cross checking, checking some of the length. Work through this in the opposite direction just to break the outline so that it's got some texture or looseness to it. Then give it a wee wrap dry, just go really easy on it. And then there you go guys, there is a little short disconnected haircut with soft layers, soft disconnection, but real kind of structure through the back and the sides. And then this hair can be worn loads of ways. So hope you like the video. Thanks for watching it. If you're into that, get subscribed, like it, give us a wee comment or whatever, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, cheers guys.